evil lurks in the hearts of men. The shadow knows.
Yeah, just did this last time. What's up, everybody? I'm just in the background. What is it doing here? Oh, I know what's doing. All right, I got y'all right. It did this last time. It did this Wednesday. There we go. Silly Riverside. They keep updating stuff. They're like, we got stuff coming. But welcome what I'm calling the haunted lunch hour. This might continue on as a name, but we might. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? Anything is possible. Um, we got James with us today
Yep.
for
Hello.
for our
Happy to be
first
here.
lunch paranormal talk, and we have our special guest Drew Beau here, and it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a fun one today. How are you doing today, man?
Doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. Just kind of relaxing, Just I'm happy to be here too as well. If I can say just, real quick, I'm here representing a paranormal group, iSpook. We've been in community on Facebook for a while now, so give them a shout out if they're watching.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Yeah, I should go over there and drop it on there. I get it live on Facebook too. I could actually put it in there. Let's see. Yeah, yeah. For sure, for sure. I know I put it in the description and stuff like that for iSpook, and let's see if I can do that real quick while I'm doing that. Bo, tell everybody about yourself and what got you into paranormal, and little background if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure, no problem. I I've had some encounters, and my first one. Well, first of all, my first name is Beau, and I'm 38. I'm a caregiver. So I've been a lot of places that have been haunted, or at least things that I've thought I saw. But it kind of all started actually when I was 7. When I actually saw something. I grew up out in the country. I'm a farm boy. Um, but I always felt like something was like what watching us all the time. It was really weird. I always had kind of that tingly feeling that you get when you know you're not alone. Um, and then when I was 7 years old, I got up to go to the bathroom, and we just lived in a trailer, and then an added West Wing trailer, and then an addition on the east side of the house. But I saw like a shadow figure. Um, to me, it looked big because I'm only 7 years old. So to me, it looked like a man, but it was standing kind of right in front of my parents' door, right by the bathroom. And I mean, clearly, you, there was no mistaking it. It wasn't, it wasn't in my mind. I wasn't dreaming. I know I wasn't dreaming because the door slammed shut on my hand and it hurt really bad. And I have the
Um.
bruises to prove it the next day.
Wow.
Um, and I, to be 100% honest, I didn't I wasn't scared like to where like I wanted to run and jump underneath my covers or anything like that. Um, I actually some was oh I went down. No, I didn't go down there. I went and peed in a cup, but that was the first time I ever saw anything. And but then I started seeing it all all the time. I out in the barn, just around the property, and it was kind of scary at some points when I'm by myself in a pitch black barn. But yeah, and then I think I was probably about 15, you guys, and I haven't really shared this story with a whole lot of people. But when I was 15, the only way I can describe it is that I think I stared the devil in the eyes. point blank, looking straight at him. You know, I grew up in a Christian home, and for those who knows that the devil doesn't have horns and hoofs. You know, he was a fallen angel. You know, one of the most beautiful angels. And you guys, I'm telling you right right now, I was I don't know what state I was in, but I flat out right in front of me, as if I were standing in front of you. I saw what I think was the devil, and he said, "Do this, and I will give you everything. You'll have this and this and that. You won't have to worry about a thing. You won't have to worry about money. You won't have to worry about anything at all in life. You'll have everything you want." And me being me at the time as a Christian, and being strong in my faith and knowing my faith, I literally I denied it, and I said that, you know, I can do anything that I want through Christ. And at that moment, things changed a little bit. I felt kind of a sharp pain burn on my arm, kind of by my bicep, and then I felt like I was falling. Like, you know, we've all jumped off of bridges and stuff into the rivers and lakes and rocks and things. It felt like that, and then um, I woke up. I felt like I woke up and I sat up, and I actually had marks, 3 marks on my arm, and I still have the scars. They're kind of faint. I have them kind of covered up with a tattoo, but they're there. And from that moment on, I knew that there was things out there that we couldn't explain, and I kind of just kept my eye on things. I saw things later on in life. I got involved with some groups a few times, talking about stuff. A lot of people saying, "Oh, it's just a figure of your imagination. You're just seeing things. It's not real. You're making it up." Um,
Right.
and it's hard when people say things like that, you know. And I always ask them, I was like, "Well, have you ever seen or heard anything that you can't explain?" And they're like, "Well, all the time, but there's always an explanation for something." It's like, yeah, you're right. You know, that's true. I can see that. Um, but yeah, and so I just been interested in it ever since. I've never done like any investigations on my own, or like with groups or anything like that. But you know, I watch a lot of videos, I listen to a lot of things, and I've had quite a few experiences myself. Lived in a haunted house for a while, alone by myself in a duplex. That was very interesting. I think it was just it was a little girl in the attic, and I think she liked me. I think she just wanted someone to hang out with and mess around with. You know, faucets would turn on, and not just like, you know, the stereotypical. A lot of stuff is like everything happens around like 3 o'clock or the witching hour and things like that. Not saying that it can't, but I mean, this stuff was happening in the middle of the day. You know, at like noon, I'd be downstairs and I hear the shower turn on, or you know, something turn on in the bathroom, doors shutting. There was a little attic ladder that comes down. That would be down when I would come home from work, and you know, the door's locked, and I have a camera on the front and the back of the house, and nobody's gone in. You know, the landlord hasn't been there, and it's completely down. And for those who are probably wondering, did you go up there and see if you could find anything? I did go up there. I didn't find anything. Like, you know, no haunted dolls or dead bodies or anything like that or anything. Uh, but yeah, and I just always been intrigued, and I always and now that I'm involved with iSpook, you know, we do a lot of stuff. You know, reading people's stories, and listening to podcasts like your own, putting a bunch of people's stories on there, and and following a bunch of these different groups that I didn't even know were out there, and spending time reading about that, watching people's videos, and listening to stories. Recently, just listened to Doug Owen's book, The Unholy. Man, insane. Um, and it's just interesting to know that there's a lot of things out there and a lot of other people's stories that I've gone untold because they're so afraid of being judged, of people not listening to them or believing them. And it can be just something as small as they saw a cup move, at a table, and people's like, "Oh, that's just the wind." Well, I mean, it's kind of hard for the wind to move a glass, across the table. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of me in a nutshell, and I'm super interested in it. I love it. I do a lot of research on certain things, watching videos, not to debunk, but be like, oh, it's hard to prove that because it's a lot of stuff out of frame or anything like that. I'm starting to get known for that. Um, but when things look real, and uh, telling some of my stories and stuff that I've posted or have done on TikToks or Facebook, I've been getting a lot of chatter and people wanting to know more about it. So it's very interesting.
No, for sure. I mean, that's amazing stories, and like you were saying, like there's so many people who are scared, and we talk. I know you heard us, say this on here before, and it's just important to talk. It's just it's good to have places where you can tell these stories because and have a groups or podcasts or whatever. That way it has others that won't think that you're like I said you're crazy. Well, you just imagine that, or even though it's like, how did I imagine that with the three marks? And you got proof that um, that you can see the marks, which is interesting. You said three marks because that's very symbolic um, with the three because it's if it was you know who you thought it was, then or even just a demon in itself, and a helper demon or anything like that. You're looking at the three marks is always kind of the mockery of the Holy Trinity. That's why they do the three marks to try to mock the Trinity. So that's pretty interesting. Like I said on that, and, and it's pretty cool. I've like I said, I've lived in like haunted houses and I always like kind of blew it off and it ain't and then finally like in the last few years I've just kind of accepted like okay yeah it,
And it's funny that you say that because after a while, I was there. I mean, I had a year lease. It's not like you can't just tell the guy, "Hey, the place is haunted. I'm moving out."
Right.
At a at a point in my mind, and I always say this as a joke because I mean, I did stay there for the full year. Um, I packed up like literally the day my lease was up. I would not because I was afraid. I had gotten another job offer, but at that point, I was like, hey, kind of jokingly, I was like, hey, if you're going to be here, you might as well start paying rent, start doing some chores around here, do something other than try to scare me, um, which is kind of funny when you think about it. But when I was living in that place or places that I visited that I felt was haunted, and I think for some people, you can feel kind of when something's like weird, whether you're reading people or you step into a room and you're like, oh, that's awkward. You know what I mean?
mm,
Um, and I'm by no means I'm not saying that I'm a medium or anything like that because I'm not. But just by reading people and it's kind of one of those things that's hard to start that conversation with somebody when they're like, hey, I just noticed when we were in the kitchen that bowl wasn't there before and now it's over there. I was like, like, what's up? Try to start that conversation with them is kind of weird, but then something's off, and it's kind of weird. And some people think it's weird that you're comfortable with that you're comfortable with knowing the unknown.
yeah more truly like the more you kind of you get into it the more you get the more education you get into it the more comfortable you get and for sure I believe like there's energy and there's for sure is gifts of like being sensitive. You know, like you said, you don't have to be a medium, you know, to be sensitive. Because like I said, there's many gifts. You know, the Bible talks about the gifts of the Spirit and stuff like that. And I think that's one of the, and you can tell like you can walk into a room and the whole room, is got a certain vibe or certain energy, and then you can have a person walk in and the whole room just you can feel it, all the energy or all the positivity just pulls, sucks out, and so that stuff is real and absolute. What do you think, James? You've been quiet and
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. There's different levels and types of sensitivity and all that. It's funny because you were just talking about that Ricky, and I'm just remembering an experience I had some years ago, and I've had many experiences over the years, but my dad was moving into or was it moving out? I forget. I think it was, yeah, no, it was moving in. Anyway, moving into a new place, and so he and family and friends were need to go back and forth to get things and everything, and I volunteered to sit in the house for a bit one day in the middle of the day, just to keep so that there was someone in the place. Since I couldn't really help with the moving and all that, I'm legally blind, and carrying stuff and walking is not going to be good for me when it's big stuff. So, um, but so I was sitting in there, and up until this point, I had never sensed or felt anything in this place. And I was sitting in the living room, and all of a sudden, I just sensed, I didn't see, but I sensed someone just standing in the entrance to the living room, looking around, like leaning over almost to look into the living room, look around, and then lean back, and they were gone. And I never sensed anything there again. It was like there was someone there, just briefly checking everything out, and they were gone. And it was amazing because a lot of times in places when there's activity, if I seem to like I can still pick up on energy that's going on there around there, even when things aren't happening in places. But this was literally, it wasn't there, it was there, and then it was not there, and so it was really fascinating. And it just reminded me of that, but also that or that experience you mentioned with the what you believe to be the devil there. I and the tempting almost. I had a weird version of that in my. I've had a weird version of that in my dreams. Not quite with seeing or sensing any one person or one being, but it's weird in the way it manifested for me because it was like I had a bigger version of my place that I have now, and it was almost like this could be yours if you want. And I just somehow had a feeling that there was a presence behind this, showing me this image of a bigger apartment and just better things in the apartment, just fancier place, like just almost like a modern version of that. The idea of I can give you all the money and material things you want, and I just felt like no, I don't. This is not right. I don't know what's going on. No, and after a little while, the dream would usually end, and that'd be it. And I had that a few times over a few years or so, and then that just stopped. And I don't know what was going on, why that was. Someone decided they wanted to tempt me with that. It's pretty ironic considering my situation. I'm extremely sensitive to light, and I get eye strain easily. So like I don't really want a huge place filled with all kinds of shiny you know like lights everywhere and like shiny electronics and this and that and all the materials. I don't want that. That's not that you know important or interesting to me to have all that way. So it's kind of now it's kind of hilarious. It's like you picked the wrong person to use that against, to because it just wasn't gonna work.
yeah, that's pretty wild, James. Yeah, I would say thankfully I have never been tempted, you know, that kind of level. Uh, from the devil or anything like that. But yeah, that's that's pretty wild just to hear. And there's no doubt that I do for sure I believe there's a lot of people that take that and how a lot of celebrities and stuff they're open about it. Like yeah, I took the
Right.
deal. I
And
won my fortune and fame.
yeah,
You
and
know.
just real quick, I don't know who was tempting me for sure. It could have been, what people think of as a devil. Really, I'm not connected in any way or religious in any way. Basically, I guess I could say. Not that I'm against it. To each their own, as long as it's not hurting anyone else. But so I'm not sure. That's another reason why it was kind of ironic. It's like I'm not sure who was doing that or why, but it was just bad choice as far as who to offer that to.
Sounds like it. What do you think, Bo?
But I mean, that's interesting, James. You know, being a religious man, I think temptations can come in many different ways, in many different forms.
Hmm.
And whether it's actually offered to you, like you're saying, through a dream of yours, and uh, you may you don't know, you know what I mean. Or
Right.
whether it's offered by a person, like a physical person to you, like somebody could come up to me tomorrow and said, hey, listen, I'll get you that whatever you want. You can have the sports car, the house, the dream life, this and that, but all you got to do is this. And it's crazy because I mean, I've seen it happen. I've seen, and in a lot of ways, I think so, the lottery is like that. I mean, people pour more money and money into it trying to win, and then when they do win, you never hear from them again. Um, yeah, that's crazy, man. I think it can happen to all of us, and maybe it's happened to we don't even know. You don't even realize it because you're comfortable in your life where you're at, like you're saying you are, man, and that's awesome. And I'm that way too. I have everything I need. I got a roof over my head. I got a great job, and I get to do for hobbies. I get to do a lot of things that I love to do, which is go live on podcasts and do things that I like doing, and I love it, and sharing my stories that I have. I mean, I should write a book. I'm not that great with grammar, but maybe I should. Maybe one day, maybe that's something that's in my future. But I love hearing the stories, James, and thanks for sharing that, man. That's crazy. That, and I think there's a lot of people, James, like you're saying, and like Ricky said, that kind of might have the same experiences, is just in different ways. It's very possible.
Yeah, I do think a lot of this. There are similarities to people's experiences, but there's also I don't know if it's because we're all different in certain ways or different ways that it's all the experiences can be different. That could be part of it. I know for me, a lot of my experiences have happened while I've been asleep. They have happened in dream form. Um, like the funniest and most amazing one, and I definitely want to hear more of your experiences as well. But just a funny thing that happened recently is I had a dream, and where there were some people out in my patio and back in my apartment, all sitting around. And I've had these before, where it felt like it was spirits. It felt like it was consciousness sitting, just hanging out on in the back of my apartment. But recently, I had this one of these similar dreams, and someone came up to the door to come in, and I let them in because apparently it was okay. And it was this older guy in like faded clothes. I don't even know what kind they were. And this guy said in the accent I can't do. He said, uh, "I'm from Ricky's group," and he handed me a book, and I couldn't see what book it was. And and he said, "You can go ahead and read this." And I had to tell him, "I'm sorry, I can't read physical books anymore." And he basically said something like, "Oh, that's okay, just keep it," and then walked back outside again. But he had Ricky's accent. Now, Ricky and I are from different parts of the country. Spent all my life here in Michigan, and Ricky's obviously not from Michigan. So
No. Couldn't
That's
tell.
kind of crazy.
Yeah, it was really amazing, and I just woke up and because how would I recreate that? How would my mind generate that on its own with the accent and everything and oh, and it had the book had a dollar bill in it. I forgot to mention that part as a
Hmm.
bookmark, which before I had never heard of people doing that until I talked to Ricky, and he said, "Oh yeah, that's common." I talked to another friend of ours, Mike from Troubled Minds Radio, and he said, "Oh yeah, I've heard of that." It's like, wow, all these people have heard of this one thing I had never heard of people doing, that I saw in this dream. So how did I make that up?
That's crazy, man. That's crazy. And it seems like a lot of your experiences that and you just said it, that happen while you're dreaming or while you're asleep or your body's at rest. And you earlier mentioned that you're legally blind, and
Hmm.
maybe that's through your dreams or while you're at rest is it's how you see, and that's why you have these experiences at those times, because that's how at that time and moment, that's how you see, because of your of being blind and everything. And so whatever is trying to show you things or be in contact with you or anything like that, that's the way that they feel best or see it's best, or that your body feels is best to see things. So that's actually pretty cool, man. That's actually pretty awesome. My sister's blind,
Ah,
and
okay.
she has similar experiences too. But she kind of messed with some stuff back in the day. I don't like Ouija boards. Never have, never will.
Oh yeah.
And she messed around with some of that kind of stuff. And I tell you what, I'm pretty darn sure she awakened to some things that you only see in the movies. I swear.
Mm,
But and she has a lot of experiences like that, and a lot of her experiences, very much so darker, um, come to her when she's sleeping and stuff like that. So
oh
that's kind
wow.
of cool, though, man. I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of the experiences you have are pretty awesome, and yeah, that's cool,
Yeah.
though, man.
Yeah, I've been very lucky. Only a handful of experiences I ever had have really been scary or negative. Uh, it's not that I ever doubt they happen. That's not the case at all. But yeah, I've been very lucky in that way. Because I know people have not. So yeah, definitely.
That
Very true.
I was just sitting there thinking about it, what Bo said. That makes sense though, James.
Hmm.
If you can't really see them if they're trying to interact with you in the daylight. Because I know, like I told a story about where, um, funny enough, his name was James, but you know, come to me and when I was awake, he came to me and just scared me. So I was like, I am not. And then later on, actually, when I was asleep, actually came to me in my sleep, so he was able to actually communicate with me, and when I'm not um, freaking out, um, which was it was a while, like 2 days there, and because like it was like completely stereotypical of like the room got really cold, and actually like the room got really big there for a second. It seemed like it, but it got really cold, and then I seen him standing at the end of my bed, and I'm like, ah. And I remember I just threw my blanket over my head and figured, like, nope, not today. He ain't getting me
It'll go
today.
away.
Yeah, you'll go away. I'm imagining my mind is what is wrong with my mind today, and then probably the next night, he came to me in my sleep and was having a conversation with me until I upset him and he left. But yeah, so that would make sense more. You'd have more, situations where you're able to actually just see, using your mind and that state makes sense.
Yeah. Yep. And I've had a couple people suggest it over the years, and it could be. Also, funny thing is, sometimes when I'm listening to books or podcasts or mainly books like TV shows about experiences, there'll be times where like two or three or four times in the episode of whatever show it is, the person that had the experience will be named James, and it's like, come on, seriously. So, but yeah,
It's pretty common. It's a pretty common name.
it is, but it's weird because it'll come in like clusters on one episode of a show, and then nothing.
That's crazy.
Yeah, for a while. Yeah,
They're all
but
targeting guys named James.
yeah, I don't know. There's something with that name. I don't know, but but yeah, happy to hear more about what you think about all this and your thoughts on all what this is, and these different experiences people have, what they are, and all that as well, as far as ghosts and what they are, and what you think of creatures or cryptids or aliens as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up like I was saying out in the country, and I've seen some questionable things, at least that I thought were weird. Um, UFOs, things like that. I've never really seen anything like that. Do I believe they exist? Well, maybe. I don't know. I can't. I mean, there's is some credible evidences, and to me, some of the movies that have come out with certain things about government hiding stuff, and that's a whole nother conversation. But anyways, kind of back to some haunted stuff. When I was living in that same house, this one might make you guys laugh a little bit. My sister had a haunted Furby.
I
I don't know
believe it, believe
if
it or
you
not.
remember what those little creepy looking things were.
Yes, I do.
This one, for real, was haunted, and like it wasn't like a Chucky situation, but this thing was gutted out, meaning there was no wires, there was no speaker, there was no batteries in this thing. And my sisters always thought it was funny because I was scared of it, and it would talk to me at night, and they would put it under my bed
Oh no.
or put it in places, and just because they knew I didn't like the toy. But in the middle of the night, guys, I am not joking you. I would hear this thing say that I will kill you, Beau. Like clear as day, in the creepy Furby voice, in the weird things. And another thing about this thing is like I would like put it somewhere else, like in the house, and then I would turn around and it's like it was on the kitchen counter. It was one time, and that could have been my sisters doing this, maybe. I mean, it's a possibility, but there were times when they weren't home, or tell
Right.
me when I'm out in the barn feeding the baby calves, and the Furby ends up out in the barn when it was inside. Okay, I set this thing on fire. All right, I set it on fire and threw it away to a dumpster. Like when you grow up out in the country, you go to a dump site and you drop off all your garbage. Load up with back of truck. Bring it to the dump site. This thing came back singed, burnt, and was in the barn again. How does that happen?
Wow.
And then eventually, what happened is, I went John Henry on this thing and I just smashed it up with a sledgehammer and I buried it. Like I grew up on 60 acres and went out in the middle, kind of like of a field, and I don't know how deep I dug this thing, and I never saw it again. Never saw it again. And I growing up, I never had anything weird or other than seeing that guy. Maybe I don't know if there was a whole separate thing. I mean, because there's other weird things that happen, but that Furby, let me tell you, that thing was creepy. That's why I don't like talking dolls. Any kind of talking dolls. All dolls are creepy. Let's just throw that out there. If
Yeah.
they ever do any
Yeah, I agree with
investigation
that.
and there's dolls involved, I'll do it. But I'm telling you, if they move, I'm out. Okay, they look at me weird, eyeballs move, or they say "Mama," what? I'm gone. Okay, you will
Yeah.
see this 490-pound guy running away.
That's wild. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not on them dolls and stuff. I'm not there either. And especially the ones that look lifelike, and and just they creepy. They're creepy as hell. And um, we had I had a guest on. James, you remember his name? I'm always, me and names
Matt,
are,
I think it was
are
Matt. Deep Woods
maybe Matt.
Paranormal.
He had a bunch of haunted. Yeah, he had a whole bunch of haunted dolls on the back wall. And uh, one of our people in the chat was like, "What's up with the haunted dolls?" And he was like, "Yeah, yeah, they're haunted." And this one here, and he was talking about them like, and he said he was the one is always like I've told people like, uh, I talked to my friends like in person and stuff and told them about this one, and the way he described it, I'm like, "There's no way in hell I'd have this in my house if it did this." But I'm sure you've seen Ghostbusters too.
Yeah.
You know the point and the one part of the movie where Vigo is like he actually comes out of the picture and turns his head and looks. He said one of them dolls actually did like that.
Mm-mm.
And yeah, no, that's what I said.
Mm-mm.
No way in blue hell that I'm gonna
Yeah,
let me have that in my house and go okay. Um, and all of a sudden this thing like face starts comes out of it and then turns, and looks. No,
No,
I mean
that's when you drown it in holy water, set it on fire, and then hopefully maybe go take it somewhere to Jerusalem and bury it underneath where like an olive tree or something. Then get rid of that.
yeah. I have a friend that told me about yeah the story about his girlfriend's house. The girlfriend at the time he went there to visit one day, and it was only them two there, and they were adults and everything, but they were the only two there, and I think the girlfriend's mom had this one wall-sized shelf full of dolls sitting on the shelf, and they all had their legs hanging off of the like they're all sitting on shelves with their legs hanging off, and they were in the house and they heard this knocking sound, and they went in that room, and all the dolls' legs were moving forward and backward at the same time, hitting the shelves, making the sound, and they got out of there.
Yeah,
They said nope.
that's whew,
Yeah.
just set the house on fire as long as there's insurance and let it be.
I don't know how it
So
started. It just happened.
The
So much,
dolls did it.
so much. Yeah, the dog did it.
That'd be a good. That'd be a good a highlighter line for a newspaper.
Absolutely. Yeah, uh, yeah. That's
It's
like
a
the
hard thing to explain or like talk about, and or I mean, because I've heard other people tell me stories, about having a haunted item or dolls, and I was like, well, why'd you buy it? I mean, if you already knew it was haunted, why did you get it?
right,
You know what I mean? I don't. I mean, some people they're interested in that kind of stuff, or maybe they're itching to wanting to see something or have something happen, and it's like, why? I
yeah,
mean, it's real, but having that haunted object, you don't know what it is. You don't know what it's capable of doing or what it's going to do,
no.
and then you bring that into your home. Especially a lot of people that have families. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's kind of crazy, and then they start wondering, oh, why is weird thing? No, nothing's ever happened here before, but now all of a sudden this and this and that is like you have a haunted object in your house now.
right. And
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe
intentionally.
sometimes,
now it wants to be in something else.
right,
Yeah, if
and
you're intentionally doing it, that's that's something.
yeah,
And some people do. They collect haunted items, and I know some that do that to to keep them out of circulation. Hey, I'm gonna bring them here so that others won't get it, or and
Yeah,
I
that's true.
understand that a little bit, but I'm with you. It's like you never know what you're going to get. Like if you know, like deep down, your intuition says, "Hey, this is something wrong. There's something off about this item. It's haunted or whatever." And then you bring it home, and then it's like, you don't know how it's going to react, how it's going to interact, and what is even attached to this item, and then you might truly have other haunted items already or haunted places, and how they'll coexist. Because
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
you hear stories about that where like you bring something in and like you had some over here and it just the complete vibe of the place just went down because all of a sudden now we had a friendly you had Casper over here, he was happy, but then you brought something kind of dark over here and just brought the whole house down, and it's so you have to
Right.
be careful. I'm you know I'm always like if I go to a thrift store or something like that, I'm kind of cautious. Like if something gives me a vibe or something, I try to leave it alone. Or hey, you can stay here, bud.
Yeah.
I'm not taking you home. No, I even say it. I'll say it out loud to it. I'm like, nope, not
Bye.
today.
Yeah, not
Yeah,
not today.
yeah, not today.
Well, my favorite one with that though is that estate sale, Ricky, where the rocking chair that you were thinking about.
Oh yeah,
You want to
yeah,
tell that
yeah,
one
yeah.
real
That
quick?
was yeah, yeah. I was at a estate sale and the whole house like felt good. Like the lady was a hoarder and she had all kinds of stuff, and it was to the point where her family was like just they did a free estate sale. I never heard this ever. Like, and they're like, just come in and take stuff. Come get whatever you want. And the one lady, I felt bad for her. Her daughter was like, some people had got some stuff. They had it separated and like, hey, don't get this stuff here. This is what we want. Which, hindsight's 2020. They should have gone ahead and like, all right, whatever they wanted, they should have pulled out of the house
Yeah.
and then opened the doors. But they didn't. But they were turned around and they're like, all right. And I went up there like twice. And I was walking around, and truly the house had a really positive energy. Like you could tell, like maybe she was there and she could see everybody, like checking out the stuff and like enjoying it and taking it home, and kind of made her happy. And I was sitting there and I was looking for like a new recliner, and because I had like a double recliner, but I wanted needed a single one, single seat. And I was looking around, and there was a chair there, and I turned, and I was like, huh. And I swear on everything that's good and holy, that I felt this no hit me like no, just everything like I said was positive, and all of a sudden just went, I was like, you can keep that chair, I'm good, I don't need it. 'Cause I guess that was her chair. I only that I didn't think of. I thought about asking her daughter, but I was like, I don't want to freak her out more than she's stressed out enough over here. Let me leave her alone. But um, yeah, that was one wild thing that I've had that just kind of reaffirmed of me having like some gifts and being sensitive that I have, and then I had my mom come on a while back, and she let me know that I come from a long line of sensitive people. So I was like, oh, okay, that makes more sense. But yeah, I absolutely did. I had that that chair, and I looked at it, and I just thought, and I got an absolute no, and I was like, all right, I don't need that chair in my house. I'm good. I got enough possible,
Yeah.
probable haunted things in here. Probably a few sitting behind me, and I don't need any extra. That don't want to be here.
Yeah. Yeah. It's weird how families like that it's a thing that can happen with families, but then there's other people where they're the first in their family, as far as I know, that has any kind of sensitivity to things. I don't know where you are at with your family, Beau, as far as other people or if it's just you or just a couple of you. But I'm always curious to hear that sort of dynamic as far as how much of the family is sensitive in any way to all these things.
I'm adopted,
Okay.
so I don't really know my actual Like, but I am Hispanic, and when I say that to people, they're like, "Oh, yeah, that's probably why." And I was like, "What the heck does that have to do with anything?" Well, I mean, obviously, every culture is different. Everyone practices different things, believes in different things, and stuff like that. So, you mean, I don't know. I just know that I enjoy, um like, if I could go and be an investigator full time and had the money to do that and travel to a bunch of different places and go and do that, I would do that in a heartbeat. It is
Yeah.
something that I love doing. It's really funny because, like, a lot of people, like I said, I've been to some places that are known to be haunted. I'm way over in Washington. Okay, I'm far away from you guys. Not as much paranormal stuff over in these neck of the woods on this side of the country, but there are some places. Okay, there's some pretty weird places. A lot of them are, you know, old hospitals or abandoned buildings or things like that. And some of the places that I have gone to with friends, they hear something and they're like, "Oh, they're gone," and I'm like, "Let's go." Like, we're not
Right.
gonna figure it or find anything if we don't go and try. And they're like, "Dude," and I was like, "Well, listen, I'm too big to be running anyways, and you guys are all gonna get away before me anyways. So I might as well stay and find out what's gonna happen." You know, I mean, that's just the way that I look at the way that I look at it. And
Yeah.
and to be 100% honest, I've never caught anything like on video or audio or, on spirit boxes or anything like that. I've never actually gotten any type of evidence, other than stuff that I've seen personally with my eyes when I don't have any type of equipment or anything, or the feelings that I've had, or dreams, or what, or people saying, "Oh, hey, dude, I don't know what you were just doing, but like last night you were up walking around punching walls. I don't know what you were doing."
Oh, jeez.
And it's like, what? Wait a minute, what are you talking about? Yeah, dude, it was really weird. You were like talking in some different language and yelling and punching stuff. I don't know what's going on with you. And I was like, well, I don't know
Yeah.
either. You might want to start locking my door at night or something. I don't know.
That's wild. Yeah. Yeah. You know, um, that's one of the. I think even Lee brought it up Sunday. James. He was talking about it. If you turn around and uh, you know, like you go on a hunt and then you ask somebody to, do something, and then when they do it and you freak out and yell and scream and and you run around, it's like, for what? That's what you were supposed to be there for. And yeah, like you said, if you're going through there to see something, you know, you're actually hearing things. That's time to, you know, debunk it and check on it, and um, you know, unless somebody knocked me aside the head or something like that, maybe then I'm going to get out of there and run. But you know, I was like, I don't know now that I've had so many things happen now. It's funny what you get used to
Hmm.
and you get comfortable with, and it still unnerves me. More some stuff, but it was it's funny to see what you can get used to, and what you can get comfortable with. But I tell you about maybe I'll do a hunt one day. I don't know. Like I said, I have too many things that happen to me as it is beforehand. So
It's fine, Ricky. Everything you'd be fine. If a thousand orbs show up, a thousand lights or whatever, or a bunch of shadow figures, I mean, it'd be fine.
The only thing people worry the most about, I think, is going into a haunted location, or I mean, there's some ghost towns and there's cities and whatnot. People go visit, is bringing something home with you,
Right.
or something following you, or something being attached to you. And there's a lot of different things you can do to prevent that from happening. Um, and I'm not. It's not just a religion thing. I
Right.
mean, there's other things that you can do to protect yourself, and it not putting a salt ring around yourself or anything. That's not where I'm getting, but there's a lot of other things you can do. I mean, there's a lot of things other people believe. Having a certain, like, a tattoo to protect you, or certain penance, or being blessed by a father or a priest or other things. But I think where a lot of people come from and is they're afraid of something getting attached to them. And as Ricky was saying, people freaking out when they actually see or hear something. I think a lot of that is kind of for show. If people, especially if people are recording it or videoing it, I think it's for show. But it is interesting to see people who go like Ricky. You're saying there's some things you're just used to that you got so comfortable with it. It's kind of like, oh yeah, lights flickering again. It's cool. Yeah, not a big deal. It happens all the time. Or yeah, the doors, the my refrigerator doors are open, drawers are open again. And you just go and close them all the time and go back doing your normal busy life or whatever you're doing. It's crazy, and some people are like that. I've seen videos, or even I have a friend. She's living in a haunted house right now. I know it's haunted. I can tell that it's haunted. And I've seen things happen, and she's like, "Oh yeah, every whatever." She's named them. Apparently, her daughter sees them, and I mean, it's crazy. I was like, what? Okay, so Frank left the refrigerator door open again. He's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the same fridge that came with the house, and I'm pretty sure he was a drinker because you always hear a clinking bottle and then the refrigerator door open shut, and then that's it. And I'm like, yeah, okay. And she's used to that. She's been there for 3 years, and it's just a normal day for her.
Hmm. A lot of that stuff like that too. It's not to be really, shouldn't be scared of because it's like a lot of that's residual energy. Um,
Yeah.
you know, like my mom was telling when she came on the show about my grandfather, like she could hear it sound like just like when he was alive, and then he'd go in there and hear him rustling around in the kitchen, and um, you know, and like he'd always get up and he'd make his coffee and cook him some breakfast, and it sounded like he's like that residual energy was still flowing through.
Yeah. Sometimes I wonder if that's what's causing my closet door to open when it does. But it's weird because I'm not sure because this is sort of an ongoing thing. It happens only once in a while, and it's one of those sliding metal closet doors that folds in on itself when you open it. And there'd be times when I'm here at home by myself with just my cat Logan, and if she messes with it, I'll hear it. When you try to move that door at all, it makes sound. I even tried the other day to move it without making sound. I could not do it. And um, but then sometimes I'll just find it open after I've been here for a while, haven't gone anywhere, no one else has come in. I've been sitting just not looking in that direction for a while here at my computer, and I look and it's open. And it's funny because a couple days ago is when I tried to open that without making having it make any noise, and then like I think it was yesterday or maybe the day before, after I tried it, a while after that, I found it open again. So I'm not sure if it's residual. Maybe it's a mix of both residual and some intelligence. I'm not sure. But again, it doesn't really bother me because, oh no, a closet door is opening. What am I going to do? It's not attacking me. It's not causing me any problems. Um, but it's something that happens here, every so often.
hmm Yeah, I mean, it's like I told, talked about like heard, when watching TV and heard cabinet doors in the kitchen open and close, and then I'm like, well, maybe it's the cats. And I look down, the cats are sitting there in my lap, both of them, and turning and looking, going, what was that? I'm like, and I remember I just turned the volume up on the TV. It's like, it'll be all right, and just keep on going, But it is a fear, though, for sure. What you're, brought up earlier about, you know, bringing something home, and and that, and that's a absolute, that happens. There's too many times I do believe it because there's too many times where people have, gone places and gone, um, and brought something back that they really didn't want to bring back. So you
Yeah.
already have to be cautious. There are measures. You can, um, and like Bo said, like biblically, you can turn around, you can protect yourself. Um, and then plus there's other ways also, and so he had kind of researched that. If you're gonna go around and start deep diving and doing all that stuff, you need to make sure and have a and I always see the people talk about it and it really that's been around and that stuff. And always when you want to and you get there and like, hey, look, you got to be firm and say, hey, look, you're not coming home with me. This is it. We're here, and and make sure to do that distinct. And there's still the possibility that something try to attach to you, but and cause you problems. But that's always one thing.
Yeah, it seems like you know there's so many variables to all this that even the things that maybe may work 99% of the time, there still could be that one time. And I mean the percentages may be different, but just for the sake of argument, you could do whatever your preferred method of protection is. You could use that 100 times, 99 times, be all set. That one time, one variable changes or slips or whatever, and something can happen. And that's why all this is what it is. It's we don't know how it all works just yet.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's what we're learning, and again, it's one of them things where I truly believe, like, there's certain things that we will never know until we actually do cross over to the other side, and there's going to be things that, and that's why we're open to things and we don't have our blinders on. Okay, hey, look, I can't deny anything. I wasn't there. Like, we've talked about this before, and we talked about I was on Lee's show. It should come out in a couple of weeks when I went on his show, and
Nice.
we talked about it like it's like all of us here has had things happen, and who am I to say, well, Bo, you're wrong. Your stuff never happened, but my stuff did. That's I can't do that. And vice versa. It's not right for him to say, hey, oh, that didn't happen. You didn't happen. That's our own personal experiences that happen, and um, and that uh, and so it's one of them things like, hey, this and if you can tell, and it's a lot of times you can tell somebody's full of crap, and they're just doing it for attention or whatever. You can tell somebody stuff like that, and even then you just kind of got like whatever. You just blow it off and whatever. You understand the thing, but there's a lot of things in this world that you know are are unexplainable and they're not part of the norm, and I just can't. You know, I don't think you should look down.
And that's why, if I may say, like having groups, paranormal groups, or hearing podcasts and everything that talk about, other people's experience, and to get just about anything that we don't really understand. It is nice to have. It's nice to be able to have those communities and have those groups. And there's so many out there. Once I joined one paranormal group, next thing you know, you like this, you should come join this one, or you should listen to this, or you should do that. So, I'm probably following, a good 100, different groups. And I have to tell you, they all have different views. It's amazing, and to see some stories, see similarities in stories, or talk to certain people, that I actually like talk to on Messenger about things like, hey, listen, I'm part of this group. They're like, oh yeah, you follow our group, we'll follow your group, and we'll do this and we'll do that. And it's just crazy because to see similarities and see how all the communities can come together and support each other. It's really great.
Yeah, yeah. We're kind of all at this point, Ricky and I and others that have been on the show and listened to the show and the chat and everything and all that. We all found each other through sort of listening to shows and being on shows and all that. So yeah, it's been a great experience.
Sorry about that. Had kids' neighbor beating on my door. Like,
Oh, jeez.
I thought his grandpa. His grandpa wanted to borrow my trailer. I thought maybe that's who it was, but it was him. Yeah, wanted to try to get Dr. Pepper from me. Them kids would tickle me. If I let them, they'll drink me dry. Actually, I can never. I guess they about have it today, but I'm like, all right, you only get one a day. If I give them one, I only give them one a day. And they're like, it's funny. I had one of them come over in the pouring down rain the other day, knock on my door. Can I get one? I'm like, man, y'all,
I was like, he
you're
deserves
hard
one
up.
after that. Yeah, I was like,
Yeah,
you're gonna come down and support me. Yeah, man, you deserve one.
y'all are hard up. Y'all need to going in the pouring down rain just to get a drink. It freaked me out. So I heard my door knock. I'm like, who, who was that? It's funny though. It's funny. They got like a little. They have a trail beat through my woods and stuff. Their grandpa was fussing about it, fussing at it and laughing at the same time. These kids are got a path beaten down, don't you? I was like, yeah, but they're good kids. They tickle me.
Hmm. Yeah, but I was just telling Beau about how we all kind of, you and I and others, got together through shows and talking
Mm.
in chats for shows and all that.
For sure. I mean, and like he was saying before I had to jump up and run off, like the groups and stuff. And I know recently, like I've been adding a whole bunch of groups and stuff like that on Facebook. And but it's a great way to connect, and we have, and it's like the 3.5 years or whatever it's been now. I guess it's crazy how I guess I'm creeping on 4 now
Wow,
of
yeah.
doing this, but all of it one live stream, but connecting with like the Trouble Minds group, and then then I met so many connected like Jess Rogie, and then Nights of Storm, and then just sitting here, and just it just kept on growing and growing, and now it's pretty neat. Like now I'm able to go, okay, be a middle person, like, hey, somebody's looking for, okay, here, and you need to go over here and check out these people, and you need to check out these people, and check out these, um, like my friend Whitney's Lavender, she's going to go on Miss Karen Carpenter's show coming up next week, or something. I
Nice.
think it's going to be next week. I know it's coming up. Kind of let a cat out of the bag on that one, but yeah. So I was like, all right, here you go. Help them put it together, and connecting that in pieces and stuff, and it's good to be have this a great vast group of people, and it has and like you said, everybody has their own personal things that happen, uh, and it has a unique way on each one of them, but um, it's amazing. It's amazing world we live in, an amazing and an amazing community that's steadily growing.
Yeah, and I mean, a big part of that too has been you doing all the scheduling, reaching out and scheduling, Ricky, because that's all the stuff that I can't do so easily. So you've been doing a ton of work, which is greatly appreciated. I'm sure not just by me, but many others.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun getting to connect out, and I'm glad I don't know why I didn't do it sooner, but I'm glad I put that flyer out because I like Beau. He's seen it, and I was like, came
Oh
on,
yeah,
and
and I share it all over the place too to try to help you out.
I appreciate it. Yeah, it's great to get these stories out, and I say it. I probably say it every show now. It's just one of them things like I think it is important to put these stories out because that way somebody's had a similar experience, and that way they won't feel alone. And I think that's one of the biggest things on some of this stuff that happens. People feel alone, man, because there's no way somebody else has had this happen to me, and they're afraid to come up, because they don't want to sound crazy or or insane, or people talk bad about them, so they don't tell nobody, and then they just turn around and happen to find like if they find here or James show or many others, and then hear stories and go, wait a minute, I had the same, almost the same thing, similar thing happened to me. I'm not alone, and I think that opens that door, where people can open up and be more comfortable with themselves.
Yeah, definitely. And that is a big one of the main points of doing this is that. And yeah, you know what? I need to step away for just a second. I'll be right back.
Okay,
And
James.
you two keep on going if you want to.
No, all right. Yeah, won't be too much longer. I got to. We probably just did about an hour, but we'll wait till James get back. Again, I appreciate you both for coming on, man.
Oh
It's
yeah,
been fun.
it was great being on here. You know, being able to represent iSpook and our new community TMF, the Truth Meets Fear Network. That's
Yeah, talk about that real quick. What we
you
got?
know,
Yeah, do you
I
know a lot about it, or?
I don't know as much about it. I just know it's a community that's tying into iSpook that was created by the founder Eric. Who by the way is a veteran. He started iSpook Paranormal a few years back, and then the Team F network is more of a community where there's going to be a lot of cool upcoming stuff. You know, we get merch. You can go live, have communities, have conversations, have where I know he's wanting like other teams to be on there so they can have like team competitions on investigating and photos and videos and going live. So actually, so like if you're on an investigation, you're part of the TMF network, you can actually go live stream on TMF as you're actually doing the investigation, which is pretty cool, I think. Um, so yeah, I mean it's pretty cool. You know, you can go on the iSpook page and check it out because I know there's links on there to go check it out and become part of that community. And
Okay,
it's
cool.
really awesome. I think it's pretty cool. I mean, of course, I'm a member of it, and kind of my role all of it is I'm a community manager. So I promote. That's kind of one of the things that I love to do. And a lot of stuff I share my experiences. I go out to other paranormal groups on their Facebooks, whatever they have, and I promote us. And then I say I promote them as well. I don't just promote iSpook on pages. I'll say, come promote your stuff on us with us, and we'll push it out too, and we can share each other's stuff and get out there. You know, we're a community. We're together, so that's what we're trying to do. You know, within reason. You know, we all have guidelines and rules, but for the most part, yeah, the TMF network is pretty awesome. I think I've sent you a link, Ricky, on it.
Yeah, I
Um,
joined. Yeah, I joined
yeah,
it.
and it's really cool. You know, you can pretty much like you can on Facebook. You know, you can just do everything. I don't know exactly how well it's doing right now. I know we have some meetings coming up to talk about it and stuff like that. So, but yeah, it's definitely it's a new thing. He's been working on it for a few years now, and I'm real proud of him for everything that he started and doing. He's gonna have merch coming up soon. One thing I do know is that there's an energy drink, an iSpook energy drink coming out. Actually, it's already like out. They're just waiting to start sending it out and promote it and stuff. So it's pretty interesting and pretty cool. I can't wait to get my hand on those energy drinks because I love energy drinks. So
Heck yeah. Yeah, it looks pretty cool. Like you said, if you're, and it's kind of cool to kind of get in on the groundwork of it, like being part of the founding people, in initial. So it'd be a cool thing to kind of help grow. It's kind of like, I kind of put it kind of like a Discord without a Discord. Had to not with the
yes,
deal with
yeah,
the
yeah,
Discord
yeah.
BS.
That's kind of how he. Like a really good way to describe it.
Yeah, yeah, it's like Discord without Discord BS. I think, but So yeah, it's it has some stuff, and I've seen where you're trying to be able to put like shows and everything. It looks pretty cool. Like once everything comes to fruition, it's going to be really pretty cool. And yeah, it's going to be it is pretty neat. So the links are in the they should be in the description. Sometimes I do good. Sometimes let's see what I did today. Maybe maybe not. Well, I'll try to get in there, but y'all can like I said, look it up. Um, truthmeetsfear.com, and y'all can check that out. Like I said, it's brand new. It's going to be growing. It's a cool way to get people together, and another fun way to get people together and to talk. And
Yeah, and share stories. That's one thing that we're big about. Just like you, Ricky, we love hearing people's stories, silly, funny, you know, Scooby Doo stories, whatever. Anything you guys. I mean, I don't know if you've gone in there and I put things up on there. Just saying, hey, who would be your favorite investigator to go with, whether fictional or non-fictional. I mean, because who would you want to go on an investigation with? I think someone said Scooby Doo. And how
yeah,
cool would that be if I could actually go on an investigation with Scooby Doo?
oh yeah,
It's
Pretty
Ricky.
cool.
I want to go with Ricky.
You
I want to go. I want to go to Waverly Hills Sanitarium with Ricky.
know what's funny, James, that you just said that you what you just said the Waverly Hills, because there was a question in there saying where I believe it was on Facebook, it was on our iSpook page of places that you would want to go visit, like in your top five or something, and the Waverly Hills was like everybody's number one place to go.
Yeah, I want to someday.
Yeah, and it's on. I didn't, to be 100% honest, I didn't even know what that was until I looked it up, and now it's in my top five.
Yeah,
From the videos I've seen to reading about some of the history and everything, yep, it's definitely in the top five of mine on my bucket list. So
wow,
yeah, yeah. It's definitely up there.
yeah. I don't know. Um, to answer that question, I don't know. Be kind of cool. I've watched so many other shows and the people. I think it'd be kind of cool to, because he's not here anymore. I had like Hans Holzer and
hmm.
do maybe do a walk with him, with some of his stories and stuff like that. I really enjoyed watching like the Holzer files and stuff that came out a while back, and I watched like watched them all. Like it was one of the ones that like uh, one of the shows that got me back into watching paranormal stuff again. I watched it. I remember I watched the whole first season. Then I told my daughter, like, we're going to watch this. And then she turned around and she watched it with me. Um, we watched it, like, we binge watched the whole first season again. And so I watched like back to back within like within a week. But hearing some of the stories and stuff that he had investigated and stuff like that. And if y'all hadn't heard of Hans Holzer, he's one of the original OG ghost hunters, um, even before the Warrens even, I believe, if I remember right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, Hans Holzer was before the Warrens even. So like I say, he's one of the OGs, and so it's pretty cool to look into. But get a little over an hour in. I know I got gym tonight, so I do have to call it a lunch. Bo, you got any shout outs you want to give before we get out of here?
Just my team, and also, a lot of the guy, everyone that follows iSpook, you guys know who you are, and Ricky, thank you for letting me be on your podcast here with you, and maybe if I ever get the my podcast up and going, I'll have you come on for a quick talk. You too, James. I appreciate being here, and yeah, it's good talking with you guys.
Yeah, of course, of course. Yeah, there's always uh, we always talk about it, and on and and we always it's like the tide rises all ships. I like that saying, and we always trying to bring everybody up and and the group that we're in, we all try to take care of each other, and we go on everybody shows and try to help promote everybody. So that yeah, it'll be an honor for us, especially if you decide to do one. Yeah, for sure. I know we'll be there. I speak for James. I know he'll be there too. He's
Oh yeah, definitely,
I don't know how
definitely.
James is. Uh, James, go ahead and might have somebody that don't know since it's a lunch show, so it's a little different. But we got tell them who you are and where to find you at.
You can find everything that I do. Of course, that my name is James Salcido. Everything that I do at salcidoparanormal.com. That's SALSIDO. Find all the podcasts there, links to all the social media, ways to listen, and ways to support the show, and friends of the show, including my co host, Jen, the Arcane Observer, who has her own channel, and co hosts with me on Saturdays usually. And yeah, links to Ricky's, all of what you see here, and Trouble Minds show and network there, and all that on that website. And yeah, if you ever want a bunch of paranormal stuff to listen to, I've got over, let's see, 1,075 episodes as of now that I released. So plenty of things to listen to. And yeah, thank you for having me on as always, Ricky, and nice to meet you as well, Beau.
Yeah, like I said, I appreciate it. And I appreciate everybody. Um, taking their lunchtime. For some it's lunchtime or a little later. Um, so it's good. I appreciate y'all being here, and the chat has been really good. Um, Let me shout out the chat real quick. Get a few people to hear today. We got Nostradamus was here. Of course, we got Sweets. Sweets dropping all the links as always, doing what Sweets does, helping
Yes.
us out. Wally's World, brother Wally is here. Um, he has another great channel. He has fun on his channel too. We got John Freeman. No, who we got? Yeah, John Freeman is here. Thought I was saying the name right. And that's it on the chat today. So, but it was an active handful in the chat, and like I said, and of course the lurkers and everybody sitting in the background. I appreciate y'all. As always, it's always good and to get everybody together and just have a conversation. I got some great shows coming up Sunday. Mm, Let me don't tell no lies. Um, I just booked some more guests. It's I'm very blessed to have so many people want to come on the show, and it's turning into something pretty special for sure. So um, Sunday we have a great guest. We got Miranda Young will be here. She's behind Ghost Biker Explorations. It's pretty cool. She kind of out the Appalachian Mountains, run around on a motorcycle, going to see places. Uh, and she owns a haunted location herself. So have some interesting stories. Um, Plus, for everybody who likes my accent, you'll love her accent also. Is we get the she'll have the southern draw on it too, so y'all enjoy that. So y'all come back Sunday. James myself will be here. We'll be having fun, and as always, I appreciate y'all, and guess we'll get out of here, and we'll see
Have a
y'all
good day,
Sunday.
guys.
You too now.